What's up? Hello. Hi there. Oh, no accent tonight. He's just gonna be mute.
I wish I knew sign language. That's what I was trying to do.
Trying to tell something to steal third base.
Oh, let's throw no gang signs.
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to Midheaven Live. Hope you guys are doing well. We are excited to be back. We're going to be doing a live show that's dedicated just to reading astrology, transits, and natal charts. If you're new to our channel, do us a favor, click the subscription button below. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear how you found us. Welcome to the darkest part of the internet. If you're new to this, if you are a level 3, you will get a reading from us once a month during our live shows. So do please consider joining our level 3 and subscribing to the channel, becoming a member and supporting us. There's several levels if you would like to get in on that. If you just want to get a reading, awesome. There's a QR code right here. Right here. You can scan that QR code with your phone if you're watching from a TV set, or if you're watching from a desktop computer or a laptop. It's going to take you directly to our PayPal where you can make a donation. It's $50 for a reading. And we're going to be taking a look at your astrology. So guys, it's really important that we get this information to be able to cast your chart. We need to know your exact time, date, and location of birth. So we need the month, day, year, AM or PM, the time, and also the city, state, and country. Please spell out the month because we have some people who are international. That way we make sure that we get the correct information. We'll be pulling up your chart live and taking a look at your transits, and Mike and I will be assessing your astrology and giving you guys answers about your questions. Those of you guys who are already made donations, we've got about 4 or 5 people who are already in the queue. Thank you. We're going to start with level 3 subscribers first. So we have Jessica Martinez, who was gracious enough to make a donation to our beer fund. Thank you. And also for Shannon the OG.
Hey.
When you make your question, please, in the memo box, put that information about your time, date, and location of birth, but also let us know what question you would like to know. If you want to have questions about a certain aspect in your chart, if you have questions about your love life, your career, what have you. Timing is really significant. Let us know.
Is it me, or did that feel like we're on a plane right now and you were the stewardess that did the seatbelt and all that before we fly?
Nobody fucking listens to that.
Right?
Nobody listens to that, because if a plane went down, nobody would actually really know what to do.
Wait, what do I do now? This is your captain and co-pilot. All right.
This is Spirit Airlines.
Spirit Airlines.
Nothing's free. We don't have a real pilot. It's all everybody for themselves.
This is a self-flying plane, but I'm going to just sit in the chair so you won't know the difference. Well, we're going to be flying at several feet of altitude before we take off on the astral planes, quite literally. And yeah, should be...
yeah, we should also say
sailing.
we're on the precipice of a new moon in Leo.
Yeah, we are.
Which is very positive in spite of some of the Mars-Uranus North Node bullshit. I think it's super positive. I'm looking. You got to take the wins when you can right now.
It really does look positive. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you guys have questions about how the new moon is affecting you, let us know. We're happy to look at your chart. Everything's by donation only.
You remember that meme where it's like everything's okay, and it's just like
everything's on fire? Yeah.
Leo new moon. Except you'll be dancing in the fire, like, yeah.
But the Leo new moon is so Jupiterian.
True.
Right? And then we've got like the full moon that's coming in Aquarius in 2 weeks that I don't know if a lot of people have looked at, but the Sun opposed Saturn, moon conjunct Saturn, square the nodes. It's like whatever you're committing to with this new moon in Leo, it's very optimistic and abundant, and there's like a lot of like goodness to it, but then you're going to realize in 2 weeks time, in order to like facilitate some of those things that you're committing to, it's going to come with the need to like make sacrifice and like bigger commitments and better time management, and it's a little sweet and salty, so you know.
And dramatic AF.
Yeah, it's super dramatic.
Just like we like it.
We're drinking pirate rum. I don't remember what it's called. I just know it's dark and it's spiced, and we're drinking it with Coke Zero. That's what we're drinking tonight.
And this is the Black Johnny Depp. So we're going on a pirate adventure. We were on a plane, but now we're on a ship. So we're still.
That's just how it works, you know, when you're jumping dimensions.
Jumping dimensions. It's a plane ship. A ship plane.
I wouldn't want to be on any planes anytime soon with the Mars-Uranus conjunction. Not to spook anybody, but like I definitely have made the decision there will be no planes in the next 6 months for me.
More pirate rum.
More pirate rum. Thank you, Jessica. We appreciate it. I mean, if you keep sending us money, we're gonna keep drinking.
Yes,
so
maybe.
Maybe we're gonna get Mike an eye patch and like a fake parrot or something. You know?
Oh, I would love that.
I
love that very
well,
much.
should we get to it?
I think we should.
Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and segue into starting to do our readings. It's a pirate's life for me. That's what I meant to say to you. We've got Jessica Martinez's friend Shannon, the OG, with a Libra rising. Anything in particular you want us to look at? More drinking and eye patches. Eye patches more for like costume purposes, not like because Mike poked his eye out. But maybe we can get like a fake parrot too. That would be fun. Can we do that?
That would be fun, to be honest.
Can we do like an all pirate
Fake
episode
parrot
where we
sounds.
talk like pirates and then we just like drink rum?
I love it.
Okay, done. Mateo, we are live.
Yarr.
We live. All right. So we've got Shannon here. Are there any particular questions that you have for Shannon? Let us know.
Your rising is 2 Libra, right?
0.
0 Libra. Okay.
0,
I
motherfucker.
love that. That is quite remarkable.
Gay husband. He would like the read of the transits.
Hey.
Do you wanna do that? You want me to do it?
He said transits?
Yeah.
I was
general.
I was asking because his sun's on your rising, and then his moon is directly opposite my moon. So we each kind of
We have our own take.
Well, as far as transits, you know, I had a transit forecast with a 0 degree Leo rising, and I was telling them that Leo risings, especially because Leo risings are the lead role, every August is like in the perspective of a lead role character, they lead the season, and so the season ends and then the next season comes in, and the details of the season are influenced by the episodes of the last season. So every August is like you're coming into the next season. The sun is coming through your first house. And Libra is an extension of that because Libra is the supporting role. Libra gets the next most screen time than Leo socially. The performer on stage versus Libra, the performance artist. So you're getting ready for Jupiter to oppose while Pluto and Saturn go direct. And I want to illustrate this because your debut coming back into this Libra season that's going to unveil this next season for you is going to take into account the complete and total change of your life and your lifestyle. So what does that look like? Because we're in Leo season now, which is your 11th house, and you're coming into where all of this belongs in your life. And relative to the Pisces season, where we had Jupiter, Neptune, Sun, and Moon in your 6th, trying your moon, you were feeling about 5 months ago what you're doing to change the beliefs around how you live your life and create this dream life. And a lot of people are not aware of how they're included collectively in this dream life you're creating, and all of that is being made real in a month from now as you transcend your entire life. And I want to kind of repeat that because even down to the beliefs around your health and any complications that arose, or because of what you and Jessica do, how your service heals other people, there's a new definition of how you have expanded and evolved your behavior and your literal lifestyle to the next level. And being that you were born in the late 60s, you have Chiron in the 6th. So this is engineering a divine way of healing other people that by the time we get to the next month, you've mastered it. You're applying this change in your behavior to other people. It's not just in imagination. It is real, it's practical, it's tangible. You're coming into Leo season, transcending this nature of your identity in service to now as a Libra and Libra rising, present this to the social environment around you, which has a lot to do with what you and Jessica are doing with the Mystics Corner. So yeah, this Leo season is literally that checkpoint in the way of the eclipse, because you're about to get paid beyond belief. You know, all Libra risings are getting that bag with the second house Scorpio. So this is really going to bring a lot of the people who are going to invest in you, basically, and you're going to start to see this change of your lifestyle come into play, integrate before, boom, it changes. And there's a lot more towards that too. But
God, I'm looking at the Pluto square the nodes.
You mean his Pluto?
Transit Pluto square the nodes right now.
Oh yeah. That's crazy.
You know, I guess one thing I would say, Shannon, from like one Libra rising to another, between the Mars North Node Uranus and your 8th coming into conjunction, which is really saying that you're learning that intimacy is being built far beyond just like money and resources. It's just stability and security and like what people have to offer you to help you feel more safe. And the fact that Neptune is in opposition to your Venus, which is your chart ruler. So you're learning that if you're just giving, and you're not holding anything for yourself, then you're just going to be depleted all the time. And you're learning that part of like the sacred process of like the work that you're doing is like not letting your energy bleed out. And then you've got Pluto, that's square the nodes. When Pluto comes into a square with the nodes in transit, it's basically saying that what must change and transform is your inner emotional core, your home base, anything in regards to what you value on an emotional level. And I've seen a lot of Libra risings over the last month or two who are kind of going through the same thing. They're like realizing that in order to make their life easier, it's about simplifying and getting back to basics, whether that's like spending time in nature or like, you know, lessening your load in terms of like material goods or like what you're, you know, needing to spend money on or whatever. And the more that you detach from like physicality, the more that doors open for you in terms of like resources and also in terms of like new home opportunities. So, you know, when you get to a point where you're having outer planet oppositions and squares, it tells me that it's just finishing up where there's been resistance in recent years. So to me, this kind of looks like that through crisis or breakdown, there's a lot of opportunity to like let new things in and let other people show up for you. Jupiter in your 7th is doing that, and also Mars conjunct Uranus in the North Node is saying like it's time to change and transform the way that you look at relationships and not allowing other people to kind of step in and help you feel supported. So definitely some difficult transits that are going on there, but
very direct. I didn't even like that square to the nodes is really life changing, really breakthrough. You know?
Yeah, the nodes are related to the moon, right?
Yeah.
So when you see squares or conjunctions to the nodes,
it's opposite his moon too.
Yeah, it
That's
amplifies
intense.
things. So, you know, you're used to taking care of everybody else. It's time for you to learn how to let other people support you. And that doesn't mean that you're less than or that you're lazy. I could see how you get weird about that with Neptune in opposition to your Venus, but you don't want like your physical health or your mental health to decline to get your attention, because that's definitely what could be happening if you're not careful.
And the application of what she just said is right now Jupiter is stationing to go retrograde, and over the next 3 months, by the time we get to his birthday season, Jupiter is going to be directly opposite his sun.
Well, it's so powerful on
Right.
on an angle, and when Jupiter is stationing, it's very powerful. And I think that Jupiter returning to that 3-degree period,
right, during Libra season,
where the Mars Jupiter conjunction was, is basically saying like, and at 3 degrees, it's about movement.
That's true.
It's also about how you're communicating with other people, and you're letting other people step in and kind of help guide you.
And the new moon is going to be 2 degrees Libra. So you're going to see the influence and effect over the next 3 months of how powerfully you've been impacting other people with Jupiter in your 7th. That's going to give you factual, detailed insight through September of how to adjust how much more you give to people versus take your power back. And Candace is really speaking towards taking that power back, because it's going to really be like, oh, wow, like, you're going to be more aware than ever of the influence you're evolving other people with, and how you need to adjust those boundaries so you're not being taken from too much.
Rebalancing the scales.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah.
Which
a lot of Libra risings have been kind of like people pleasing for a while. And if you're experiencing the Pluto squares, it's just realizing that it's not getting you anywhere, you know? Birthday in Vegas. Welcome to Sin City, Shannon.
That's
Definitely say hello while you're here. Hopefully that's helpful. We're sending you lots of love. Those are some difficult transits, but ultimately,
rewarding too.
Yeah, very rewarding.
Your whole life is changing. That was the whole point of what I would say. Like the Pisces 6th house to 12th house is an entire change of your whole life that you since 2017 started with Jupiter. So it's 6 months, 6 years in the making, and you're at that point where next year you'll push forward over the next 6 years. So congratulations.
So if you're just tuning in, we're doing readings by donation, $50. Send us your info. Let us know if your name differs from PayPal to YouTube. Let's go ahead and pull who we have next up here. We've got Stephanie. RS. Here we go. Stephanie F. Stephanie says, June 27, 1993, 21:20 p.m., Cape Town, South Africa. Question. Can you look at my solar return and what's to come, please? Spent my birthday at home. Also noticed my natal Uranus is a degree off from that conjunction. So let me just look at your chart really quick. Aquarius rising, Sun in Cancer, Moon in the 9th. Okay. So so you're having it at home, obviously. So Cape Town. So the solar return, not a lot of people know, that relates to just your birthday reading. It's talking about when the sun comes back to where it was when you were born. And it can give you an indication of like what's coming for the year ahead, generally speaking. You can do a really in-depth solar return chart. So we'll take a look at your ascendant here. So we've got your solar return was June 27, 2022 at 9:34 p.m. Aquarius rising, Saturn on the ascendant, Sun in the 5th, Moon conjunct Mercury in the 4th. So an Aquarius rising solar return chart is going to put an emphasis on Uranus. And in this chart, we've got Saturn and Uranus that are in a slight square. By whole sign standards, Uranus is in your 4th, but it's actually conjunct your ascendant, your IC. So that's telling me that there's something about your boundaries, your life, your authenticity, your independence, Saturn in the 1st, in a square to the IC. So making decisions revolving around where you're living, maybe going back home, Uranus on the IC, the Moon in the 4th house also, talking and communicating more with family about what's changing and transforming in regards to your home. So I'm wondering if upon going home, you're realizing that I'm thinking about making a home change, or there's something changing about the way that I'm feeling about home or how I'm communicating with other people. The Sun is in the 5th, so obviously, yes, this is very similar to your natal chart. So when you have a solar return chart that's very similar to your solar, that I kind of feel like it's like bringing you back home to like really what your natal chart is saying. Would you agree with that? If you have a natal chart really similar to your solar return chart, like similar.
I've always felt that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you're returning to your actual expression, right? And seeing how much you grow.
And you happen to be home, so that's
Right.
really interesting that is playing out.
Oh, okay.
Saturn square the nodes, I think, is interesting because we could look at this from Uranus being a ruler. You know, Uranus, Aquarius is being the modern day ruler. Saturn is the traditional ruler. So we've got North Node conjunct Uranus by about 4 degrees. So it's the change in the transformation of how you communicate with family or what is home. Versus Saturn and Aquarius on the ascendant retrograde, reevaluating, you know, how do I feel where I am? Do I feel good here? Do I need to reevaluate my boundaries? Saturn square the nodes. So any which way you slice it, this is the embodiment of all of 2021 and 2022. We have seen Saturn and Uranus in a square. Now we're seeing the North Node conjunct Uranus. So it's taking it's kind of taking the limelight a little bit away from Saturn, and it's saying, time to innovate, time to change things. There's going to be sudden kind of epiphanies and reevaluations of how you think or communicate what is home or what is stability. It may even suggest that there's like a little bit of like adopting like life on the road or opting to kind of move around a little bit in this next year. However, the Moon in the 4th house would kind of also, I think, mirror that because it's an immutable sign. So it's like moon conjunct Mercury. It's like, well, home could be here, home could be here, home could be here. It might mean that there are things changing in regards to the lives of your family members, and depending on what's going on there, you might be in communication with them and going back home as they go through some of these changes. But I would assess this very similarly to your natal transits right now, where Saturn's sitting in your first house saying, what do I need for my security? Uranus is in your fourth, which is saying, like, my family's all over the place, my home's changing, my emotions are all over the place. Square the nodes is, how am I redefining who I am, both professionally and in terms of how I present myself, and redefining what it means to be home. Certainly all those conjunctions to the nodes and also the squares to Saturn is kind of saying that there is a sense of this year of like weighing things out and asking yourself, you know, what parts of me that I've always kind of acknowledged or identified with comes with, and like what am I willing to kind of like upend and like let go. So yeah, I think that's a little bit of a wild aspect to have in your solar return chart. I mean, it's basically saying you're having your solar return during one of the peak levels this year. So if you have your birthday in 2022 in like, you know, Aquarius season, Taurus season, Scorpio season, you know, you're gonna have this, and you're kind of in between, but you're right when those conjunctions or those squares are taking place. Fifth house sun, figuring out what makes you happy, what brings you joy, things revolving around self-employment, creativity, self-expression. Your sun's at a 6, so it can be about kind of reevaluating, like, what am I doing for myself that's healthy ways of having fun or expressing myself. So the fifth house sun can be, you start a new hobby this year, you fall in love this year, you end up thinking about, you know, starting a family this year. These things can happen. And the dispositor of Cancer is the moon, and the moon's conjunct Mercury in the fourth. So it tells me that you're re-evaluating what it means to start reworking your idea of family and possibly working from home, doing some kind of creative work from home. I think it's interesting that your birthday was when we also had the sun in conjunction to Lilith. So there's definitely kind of grappling with like also fears revolving around like, how could I be more creative and like be self-sufficient and like maybe make money that way? Like, do I really see myself getting involved in a romantic relationship? Am I afraid of having children? There's going to be a lot of that stuff that's going to come up. And this is also in a trine to Vesta and Pisces in your first house, which is like, well, what am I nurturing, right? So you're going to feel this need to want to nurture something. So I personally think it's bad astrology to be like, sun, fifth house, you're going to get pregnant. But it's possible, but you can be pregnant with ideas, right? I also think that with the sun square Jupiter, and Jupiter being the ruler of your second and also your 11th, you're more optimistic and perhaps even a little idealistic about things that you could possibly, you know, create this year as well. But sun square Jupiter, it's coming into the square by about a degree, and I would say just watch, because there could be like overeating, over partying, overindulging this year as well. But that's pretty much it. I mean, I think that this is really bringing your attention, I think, to your second, fourth, and third house, which is, where am I living? Do I enjoy where I'm living? What kind of life am I building? You know, you've got a night chart here because the sun is beneath the horizon. So it's trying to get you to think about your inner world. It's not really a career chart, especially with that south node in the 10th. It's like, you know, where are you going? Where are you living? And what are you building? What are you creating? I think with the sun square Jupiter, it's also like opportunity through creative endeavors to really expand anything in regards to your resources. So am I missing anything? You see anything else?
I mean, that Saturn on the rising is so like amazing, exactly conjunct.
And retrograde.
In retrograde, yeah. This is the year you become a gangster, more so than you are. And the 12th house, because the moon is in Gemini behind the Cancer sun, your solar return was on a balsamic phase. So you're transcending your self-identity and how powerfully you feel about the truth about yourself. And as a gangster with Saturn on the rising, it's having you express this as high nobility, or knowing yourself more than ever. So you have to release aspects of what you think about yourself, because by the time we step into November, December, you're seeing physical evidence of you being more powerful and psychic in real life situations than, of course, you currently think right now. And so it's a year of release. And yeah, I think next we have Jamie. There we go. I don't even know how to ask the question. I feel like I'm at such a karmic closure or end of a chapter in so many ways. I guess I can ask if you see a parent passing, as I have felt it for a while. Super strong now. Any insights from my fave is highly appreciated. Love you guys. Okay, heartfelt vibrations. So, can I see if a parent's gonna pass? Not entirely, but I do this podcast with Hades, and Hades can definitely see that shit. So she'll hook you up with that. I can give you trends and look at your moon and your sun and see what might be possible. Okay. Right off the bat, we know you rocking with Aquarius. I don't think I know how to pull up this chart.
It's okay.
Here's that.
Oh, like this. There you go.
Oh, show chart. There we go.
No, that's... Oops.
Oh, the chart
Sorry.
now. I see what you mean.
Chart. Now, there you go.
There we go. So, I mean, the first thing I love seeing is that you represent Aquarius, Queen Aqua, 24 degrees. Saturn has been on your sun. So, one thing we want to keep in mind, I had two people who I know. Well, one person who I know personally recently passed. Shout out to her, she died of cancer. And then another person who I know, who I don't know, but I did a reading of, their partner recently passed a year ago. And what they both had in common was the Reaper came for their soul. Like Saturn was transiting their moon. That let me know it was their time, you know what I mean? But because Saturn's transiting your sun, and you also have your moon in Aquarius, it's not necessarily a coincidence that you literally just said you feel super strong that someone's gonna pass. That's a death sense. Saturn, of course, is representative of the god of agriculture, the scythe, right? So it being on your sun and moon as, oh my God, you were actually born with Saturn in Aquarius. You are like, you're literally a vessel and power of the Reaper here. Like you're a vessel of this Titan King. So you're manifesting as a Capricorn rising this sense of knowledgeable authority and Saturnian strength and power. So the reason why you feel like you're at the karmic closure of a chapter is because you literally are, and this is all going to go into Pisces, and this is going to phase into this new cycle. So what we want to really illustrate is, as a Capricorn rising, you're aware of this as High Queen, right? Even though you got the director rising, you're manifesting your network. You're manifesting your net worth through your network. You are, with Saturn, establishing the authority and command. The difference between you and someone else who's just going through the second house transit is that Saturn is going to limit and challenge you on how you, it's going to literally make things harder for you to come into money so that you can appropriately meet those challenges to manifest more, in this case, knowledge, to strengthen your network. You were born with Saturn there. You had the Saturn return. You are manifesting the command and authority to at will. As an Aqua Sun and Moon, you don't have to outsource this knowledge. So you already have it. You're constructing it. Jupiter evolved it. And I want to really highlight the significance of, you're not just out here feeling death very strongly. You command it. And because it's an Aquarius, you have second house, the knowledge of these karmic cycles and the timing. So Pisces with your third house and Neptune is breaking out the illusions of the literal doubt you have, because you actually know what you know, because Aqua represents I know, but with no Virgo, right? The only Virgo you have in your chart is Pallas Athena. The lack of the social details and context enables you to have doubt on how much you know what you know. You actually know what you know. You're just giving yourself the luxury of doubt because it may not manifest exactly the way you think. What's happening is, over the next 6 months, as Saturn shifts into Pisces and you feel the end of this karmic cycle, you're structurally engineering, just in nature of your own presence. Like this, like I'm actually like mind blown, because You were born with Uranus and Neptune on your right. Oh my fucking goodness. So like you're not just a super alien. Like you have this celestial goddess quality to you that's clearing away all this doubt. And that's why you feel like you don't even know what to ask. What are you as a celestial queen going to ask us? You already know the answers, so you really kind of want more context of how to make sense of it. And as Neptune clears out your third, as Jupiter clears out your third, it's clearing the illusions around the cognitive dissonance with the external environment that you don't fit in the box of. And you're clearing all this. Like Saturn on your sun is having you master all this, clear all this, be aware of all this. And I'm not necessarily, our representative Hades here can probably...
I was crunching the numbers.
Right? As far as like who's going to pass. But you're manifesting all this.
So, I mean,
beautiful.
If people ask me, I'll bring it up. So there's something called Arabic parts, basically. And I work with the Arabic parts calculator. So there's a calculation for like part of death, birth, all that stuff. So there's a calculation for the death of parents, and if you're a PM chart, which you are, your sun's in the second, that would be taking the ascendant, adding it with Saturn, and subtracting Jupiter. So you can find this, and I don't just say like, oh, if a planet crosses that degree, you're gonna die. That's not what I say. It's more we have to see that in a progression. We also have to possibly see that in like a solar return, or we need to see that in like a solar arc. So I'll check those charts to see if anything is like kind of coming up. Obviously, this is going through your astrology, so we're not looking at your parents' chart. So looking at this, your Arabic part for the point of death for a parent would be 0 degrees Cancer in 42 minutes. It's not getting activated in your transits. It's not getting activated in your progressions. It's not in your solar return. So I would go as far as saying, that's perfect, thank you. Like, I'm not seeing it right now. That doesn't mean that this is the only way that we predict death, because the truth is like, we're not God, we don't know. There's so many different outlets and exit strategies for the soul, but like, I'm not seeing it. Perhaps maybe down the road when we see Jupiter square that point at 0 degrees in October, that's a time to watch. Go ahead.
I was going to say another indicator of death is the ruler of your fourth. And as a Cap rising, Mars is in Gemini, which will speak to, around death or even in old age, you being able to act off of intellectual motor function, you keeping aspects of your mind, especially with how strong your mind is in Aquarius. And so the Mars retrograde that's going to happen at the end of the year will give you a lot more, relevant insight about, how this may apply. It's not necessarily as, this is kept purposefully vague because those conditions of death will really mark more yours. But because, it is being aspected, it could still give you, in relation to your aqua energy, knowledge of how it could apply to other people. But Candace kind of nailed it. There's so many different entry
I could see like the Jupiter square maybe, but like it'll square again in December, but then it's going to move forward. Like, to be honest with you, I would be more thinking perhaps maybe you're getting a feeling that something like this is coming. Actually, because Pluto is coming into conjunction with your Saturn. Now,
that's so true.
Cap rising,
that's a fact.
Saturn's your chart lord. The second house
North.
does deal with family matters. So it deals with like family resources, things like that. So could that conjunction bring it? Maybe.
And also, I have to say, similar to myself, you're a soul reaper. You actually have soul duties of soul regulation and passing spirits and souls from different realms, okay? That's awakening over the next couple of years. So this is why your death sense is awakening. You're going to manifest the knowledge of how to make sense of all that. So that's also a huge reason why you're sensing it. That knowledge is not for nothing.
Also, Pluto being the ruler of your 10th house can be representative of a parent. It also rules your 11th house, which is things that are out of your control. So I could see with like Pluto coming into close proximity to your Saturn, and also your moon, that like inevitably it's going to be someone, but it may take a little bit longer, basically. I
love that you brought up Pluto on her Saturn. That's really spot on.
Yeah, well,
That's
especially because Saturn's the ruler, so,
Yeah.
there's going to be a sense of you dealing more so with seeing the body breaking down, because the second house could be the body.
Yeah.
It could also be, like, you're starting to talk to them about, like, insurance or, like, life insurance policies or health insurance, because that's, like, very, like, Pluto,
Yes, been passing souls since I was 18. That's like, you don't know how much that means to me, because like that, especially 18, that was around your Saturn opposition. So like you literally gained your provisional license to start soul reaping, and it's
Well, and Pluto's on her north node right now.
Right.
So
Oh my
she's
God.
going,
Exactly.
she's literally somebody who's picking up death and transformation. She's feeling that it's like coming.
Yep.
But it's also about like your body going through physical changes and like how you're perceiving that energy. And like death can be, like I've seen a lot of people go through that transit where they're like, oh my God, somebody's gonna die, and then like a month later they find out that like their job changes. Like
Right,
a lot of it's
that's
about the way
true.
that you're
That's
perceiving
true.
change and transformation, and
Yeah.
how you're actually working with that energy, and you're allowing yourself to channel it in a positive way and not letting it overcome you, especially in the first house. So I would say like clearing your energy, your auric field regularly is important. Doing yoga, anything that's going to like work that out of your body. And
That's
I would
very true.
say, because Pluto transits work on a very deep cellular level, like avoid radiation, drink lots of water, take resveratrol, anything that's going to be combating some of that more kind of heavy Pluto energy,
Yeah. And I mean,
That's a lot. I have a couple clients going through that North Node Pluto in the first, and they're
Wow.
all telling me
Ooh.
like they're constantly feeling like they're going through all these different versions of themselves.
right, like the onion is just fully unlayering.
Yeah.
Because Saturn is there, Pluto on your Saturn through you is going to have you manifest an awakening and transformation of a series of events that will impact the whole collective based off of a ripple effect and domino you may post on a blog or you may manifest. So I'm just letting you know, because with your aqua, you're going to be aware of what that is too. So,
She's been getting her ass kicked for a while since Saturn's been in Capricorn in 2018. Saturn came into conjunction with Uranus, and then Neptune, and then her North Node, and Pluto
Empowerment.
was there, and then Saturn went into Aquarius. The difference between Capricorn and Aquarius is Capricorn's like initiatory, like it's like getting things done. It's like taking responsibility, and then Aquarius is like standing at the top of the mountain looking down on what you've accomplished and being like, yes, and really being able to intellectualize everything that you've experienced and being able to kind of share with other people your experience. So I think that until Saturn leaves your sun, it's just been like a really, it's been a rough one, A lot of people who were born 89 and 91 who happen to have either the North Node in Aquarius or in Capricorn have been going through this. We've been going through that too. It feels like a 7-year Saturn transit.
yeah.
It just doesn't end. Yeah.
I didn't know you were born 91. That's one of my favorite years in astrology. As a 1990.
Yeah.
Yeah, 88 and 89 and 90s twin years are 91 and 92.
It's going to be interesting to see these
really
people have Pluto across their Saturn, because we had it in Capricorn, so you're going to have it in Aquarius, where I feel like it's going to be even more potent, to be honest with you. Yeah, a lot more potent. But yeah, sending you lots of good energy throughout, some of those transits, and it's definitely a difficult one. I would say, being that you're coming up on, 31?
Yep. I'm 32.
Your 8th house year is 31, so a lot can change and kind of come up in terms of transformation and death with an 8th house year, and you have Saturn on your 8th house lord. So pay attention to some of the oppositions and the squares that are going up right now. Hopefully that's helpful.
Sweet.
We have got Elizabeth.
Always be off. Johnston.
Ooh, this one. So that is July 12th, 1992, 5:31 p.m. Okay. Wanting to start my own business, but I'm overwhelmed with all my hobbies. Not sure what I want to go with. My question is, looking at my chart, what do you think is an ideal career for me? When is a good time to start? I know an ideal question is vague, but have fun with it. I'm really curious to know what you guys see. What's up, Kendra?
Well, I mean, I don't want to, because I want you to have this, right? but I learned that Sag risings have Capricorn, and that means Sag risings have superpowers. So your decision to start a business has everything to do with Capricorn in your second house, and I hope you're ready to make a shit ton of money with the eclipse in your sixth. That's the best decision you'll probably ever make in your entire life right now.
The eclipses and also Mars going into the 6th house. You
Yeah.
know? So you want to start your own business. You're overwhelmed with hobbies. I mean, come on. You've got eclipses technically right now happening in your 5th with Uranus. So you've got Mars, North Node, Uranus going through there. So you're really asking yourself, what do I love? What do I enjoy doing? You know, what do I need to kind of try out and things that might be kind of different? I think with Uranus also conjunct your Mars, it's bringing up things that you can do from home, right? Because Mars is the lord of your 4th. Mars is in a trine to Jupiter, your chart lord, so it's something that you can learn from home, but ultimately end up teaching or ultimately end up sharing with other people.
92. Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so amazing.
You got a Midheaven in Libra
Saturn,
ruled by
okay.
Venus. Venus is located in your 8th, where you have an opposition to Pluto going on right now. So Pluto is in opposition to your Venus in the 8th. So you're like, there are things that I want to do, but how do I pay for it? Right?
Investments, I see.
How is this possible?
And she's a vessel alien, so you're a vessel of destiny, Uranus, and Neptune. So, as someone who's also a vessel of Uranus and Neptune, that's why I love 92, 91, because you take that concept to the next level. So, this is going to be kind of difficult. This is your challenge. Like, your sun's in Cancer, so you're used to really resting on the comfort that you create. You can get out your comfort zone. Cat Moon teaches you that. But have you accepted yet that every single thing you feel like doing is aligned with destiny? You're not going to know what it is until you do it, because you're defining it. And your MC's in Libra. So as a creator, as a Sag rising, your legacy is to be a social leader. The ideal job for you will be any career that puts you on Front Street in a social setting to attract artists and to attract whatever you're producing to be presented, whether that's clothes, whether that's schooling. You want this to be a career that involves being pushed and leading the social norm, the social narratives. And because your sun's in Cancer, this is something you're going to be at home with. Your relationship with this facet of your career isn't like a Capricorn that's going to look up to it. It's more like a Cancer where you can wear your home clothes at work, right? I'm leaving this purposely vague because it could apply to so much. But the 11th house nature of this is anything that like a DJ that's going to put out a set that's going to attract a bunch of people in a social collective environment. So that's one way to look at it. And the coolest thing is Leo season to Libra season is you fundamentally establishing that for the first time since your Saturn return in a way that'll make sense. And you'll start to know what direction to go from there. So that's also
something about that Venus also just kind of getting tagged right now. You know, you're in your Saturn return, so having Pluto in opposition to your 10th house lord, Pluto is the ruler of your 12th, you're feeling very inspired by your dreams, your visions. There's a lot of outside spiritual influence and things that are kind of challenging you to like really step up into your career. So for anybody who's listening, just know that according to annual perfections, 33 is a big year because that's when you come into your 10th house year.
Oh.
So I feel like being that you're in your 7th house year right now, your Saturn return, Pluto is in opposition to Venus. Right? For what?
When it's November that you'll enter your 10th
my 10th house year. And Jupiter's going to be on my moon, and my North Node's going to be on my moon. It's my 10th house lord. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I have a feeling that it's almost like there's old ideas that have to die off right now, and your Venus is within 8 degrees of your sun, so it's under the beams of the sun. So that tells me that sometimes it's hard to really see Venus for what it is. And if you have, the sun and Venus in the 8th house in conjunction, it's saying that you will change and transform your identity when it comes to your career several times over. And it's going to take like a guru or a teacher or a philosophy or a belief system that comes in that really changes and transforms the way that you look at what you do for a living. And it can be super powerful. Sun, Venus in the 8th can be great for bringing in resources and stuff from other people. But I have this really strong feeling that part of your Saturn return has been about you kind of reconciling doing work to make money versus doing work to feel fulfilled and doing something where you're really accessing your true talents. And until you kind of get out of that Saturn, return, and Saturn really starts moving into your whole sign, I guess your Placidus third again later in the year, it's gonna get worked out. I anticipate that when you have a more positive transit to your Venus, you're going to see much more breakthrough, and I think that's going to be when Jupiter retrogrades back into Pisces. It's trining your Venus, so there's like this October, November time where things are going to open up a little bit more for you, and then when Venus receives a square from Jupiter, your chart lord, perhaps you've already started it come the spring of next year, but you're like, oh my gosh, I'm growing out of my home. Like, I need a space to work from. Like, I can't do this hobby where I'm living. Like, I need to invest a little bit more money into it because it's going to be something bigger. And, Libra rules your 10th house. Some would say whole sign, it would be Mercury, but even your Mercury is in the 8th house. So something about maybe changing and transforming others' emotions, their homes. I look at your sun at 20, that's a transformation degree. Your Venus at a 28, which is like about home and property and resources. You could do like interior design, interior decorating. You could do staging. You could help other people sell homes. Like there's a lot of things you could do here. You could do textiles and stuff for the home, pillows, blankets, things like that.
It's cool because, by the time that happens and Jupiter retrogrades and it goes back into Aries, that November to the next year period is you, once again, being aware of what this ideal career looks like. And because the Saturn return for you is breaking through the attitude of how to approach your career because you've manifested the resources to create a business, the eclipse in your 6th house, like Candace said, is you literally manifesting the work environment outside of your home or in your home to process and create this career. So 2022 is the year you're going to be clear on what this ideal career is by November. And then 2023 is when you take action to step into and solidify it, complete the eclipse. And the thing that I feel like for you is that this is going to be hyper accelerated as a Sag rising. You're going to hit goals a lot quicker. So we know that the ideal career is going to be seen here, but let's get more insight on what that looks like. We know that your Saturn return is in your 3rd house, but it is 8th house to your sun. So
cost money to make money.
That for sure.
Cost money to make money.
But the cool thing is being in the 8th house, you have the ability and skill to show people how valuable what you have is, and they'll be readily willing to crowdfund and invest the money needed. And that's what you have to come out your comfort zone to accept. Once you feel it, destiny will charge it. And because the 3rd house is of learning, you are establishing innovative channels to, with your authority, innovate the process of learning in whatever field. The field it probably is 8th house to your sun is occult knowledge, hidden techniques as a part of innovating learning. Whether this is, and you'll know over the next few months what context that is, but it'll be interesting to see how you feel about that.
I would watch when the nodes move to square your sun, your Venus and your sun. So when the north and the south node move to square your Venus, which is going to be in Gemini, in Cancer. So when that happens, summer of 2023, when the North Node and the South Node square, you're going to realize, like, wow, there's something I really love. I want to make this change and transformation.
You'll be taking action on it.
And then Venus will go retrograde in your 8th. So I wonder if you return back to something that you love, or you look at getting like a loan or something to kind of like start a business.
Or a baby.
And then the nodes are going to square your sun, ruler of your 9th, which means also then come 2024, you're in it, you're teaching it, you're practicing it, you're doing it. So I would say look to anything that's really interesting you right now. I think just your Saturn transit in the 2nd in a square to, the North Node, stuff going on in the 5th is you can't break the bank right now. You can't go like ham and go balls to the wall and buy all of the things. You're feeling kind of strapped a little bit by Saturn. And it's saying like if you want to learn about, painting or floral arrangements or perfume or whatever. Don't go ham and buy everything. Like, go into a class with other people, Aquarius, where there's joint resources, where there's joint materials, so you can see what you like. Or like, there's like a crafting thing you want to do, buy like a sample box that comes with everything you need to kind of just start it and see if you like it. Don't spend a lot of money. Have a variation of different things that you can be practicing and kind of creating and working on, and see which one sticks before you invest any more. I think Saturn in the 5th square, planets in the 5th, is just teaching you, like, you know, it's important to really develop those talents. And sometimes, you know, spending a bunch of money on something doesn't necessarily mean it's going to bring happiness. So you need to have a variation as it's squaring your Mars and creating the space, right? Because Mars is the ruler of the 4th. Creating that space to be able to feel like you can work from within your physical home. And I think Jupiter going there is saying, like, are you expanding your home to give yourself an office or a craft studio or a corner of somewhere in your living space that's going to give you the freedom to be able to start working on this stuff and creating this stuff and making it possible. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Really exciting. Let us know what happens. We have got, so that was Elizabeth. So we've got Jessica. We did Jessica. Is that correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're on to Astra. We have to add her in.
Campo.
And it looks like that is August 4th, 87.
Tell me your secrets, Joliet. Well, while she types it in, I'll definitely say being born in 87 means you have Saturn and Uranus in Sagittarius, which is crazy as fuck. I'm gonna just be honest. Like, every single one of y'all born in 87, y'all are here to bust the system. Like we have that, but it's in Capricorn, so it's more conventional. But y'all are here to just completely change that. So all power to you, because as a Leo, you are able to harness that with full creativity and expression. And that's something that, if we were just to take on its own, would just be kind of vague, but it's super relevant, because 2031, we're going to have Uranus and Saturn opposite. That's why if you're born in 87, it's such a huge deal, because you are going to be a major player to the shift of the turn of the century now coming into 2031. And the maturation and completion of Saturn when you were born with Uranus, that is insane, is not only going to complete everything y'all are here to create, but directly apply that into the integration of infrastructure moving forward. That means that you're currently already working on this right now. And as a Scorpio rising...
Oh, man, look at those transits. Fuck.
Sheesh.
Man,
so you manifest
how's that
too.
7th house Mars Uranus transit?
Oh, my God.
Oppose your ascendant, square all your Leo. Are you getting on well with other people?
Are they getting along with you?
Yeah, well, yeah, because
Yeah.
a lot of Scorpio risings are really hard to deal with right now.
Oh, and you got a Sag moon, so you're a fucking gangster. So you're a vessel of all this stuff I was talking about. So basically the Uranus Saturn that I talked about, you understand it. You're a vessel of, you harness it with all this fire you got, and you're like a firebender. You can
I feel good in
manifest this.
chaos.
Oh, that was the best thing I've heard. You have
I
chaos
like it.
control. But that's because you have chaos control. So you can enter it, manage it, literally manage it. And you're, oh my gosh, that's crazy. So, like, you know, you said tell you secrets, right? Well, as a Scorpio rising, we know Pluto rules your chart. You're a Kundalini goddess. You got the Pluto rising. So similar to our host Hades right here, you know, you're an instrument of transformation and awakening. You manifest as karma and Saturn. And like a lot of this archetype takes a while to express, especially as a lead role character, as a Leo with Mars and Venus. You creative as fuck. Actually, yeah, you creative as fuck. And so this is putting you in a position in the 10th house to perform the value of the perspectives you have societally to inspire those. You in the 10th house with your MC and Leo, like, you're meant to inspire people, right? The thing here, though, is that eclipse and everything in the 7th house is using your wisdom, your expertise as a resource in order to put other people on. So you have a very important decision in right now what's happening, the actions you're taking with other people in order to push forward your own career. That Mars square with Leo and Taurus is that tug of war kind of, where you're moving forward in relationships, and the decision is this holding me back from what I want to do? Remember, you're on stage, so the people who you're inviting to see you perform, is their presence adding to you or is it taking away? And the square is events that force you to make a decision because it's a square, so you don't have the luxury of just letting it be. Taurus is the most stubborn sign. Leo is stubborn as hell too, if not more stubborn than Taurus. And the stubbornness with the Scorpio, which is even more extremely stubborn, helps fix the strength of this energy. You're correlating so much energy. So this Leo season is breaking you through the seed sown in your partnerships. And when I see an aspect like this, you're married to the game. Because the seventh house Taurus you're aware of in your career. So you're married, you're going to partner with people who help manifest this career success. And you becoming more conscious of this is preparing you for the eclipse in Scorpio. That's going to blossom how you transform your personality and revisit the karma you have here. But yeah, those transits are freaking...
Oh boy, that's a lot, man.
Yeah.
Like to have your chart lord going through the 7th, where it's usually other people.
North Node Aries, oh shit.
I mean, in so many ways, like everything comes back to Mars, right? So you see your Mars at 18 degrees. The North Node, Uranus, and Mars are going to square that. So it's going to shake up relationships big time right now and remove people or create conflict or strife so people get cut loose who are not a part of helping build your future in terms of your career. So you don't just have your chart lord meeting with the North Node and Uranus. Like, you're going to have some really stressful interactions with other people who are going to challenge who you're becoming, right? But part of the South Node going through your first house and conjuncting your ascendant, I think, is also like letting go of this old identity of like, I always do it myself. I'm the star. It's just me. And you're realizing that in order to come out on top, there's new people coming in. It could be romantic partners. It could be business managers. It could be people who want to, like, you know, work with you, collaborate with you, whatever, to show your talent. Because all that Leo at the top of your chart is really ringing true. And I think you're going to realize that there are some people who are worth partnering with, and there's other people that you got to cut ties with. And it's uncomfortable because you're realizing that you're a lot stronger, I think, in partnership. So it's not just all about you. And this is all in preparation for your Jupiter return, right? So Jupiter's going to dance on your North Node again here pretty soon, right around September. It's going to go retrograde. It's going to come back. It's going to hit again in that early 2023 period. And then you have your Jupiter return with the North Node conjunct your Jupiter. So there's an excess of work and collaboration.
Yeah.
And then Jupiter goes into your 7th house and you have a lot more expansion and fame for your talents because of how you've been showcasing other people. So I've seen a lot of Scorpio risings who have Aries placements, whether that's in the 5th or the 6th, whole sign it's the 6th. Some of your talents are going to be best shown through collaboration with other people. So don't feel like you're being cast aside or that there's anything going on where like you're not going to get your time in the spotlight, because you are. Once Jupiter's going through your through Aries again, it's trining all your Leo, you know? So you're going to realize that you're a part of like a bigger picture. Like there's like a higher purpose for some of the stuff that you're doing, and it's also going to trine all your Sag stuff. So it's really great financially. I would just say it's about getting a part of a cause that you can get behind.
And, you know, with the nodes, I'm glad you brought that back. When Jupiter's on your nodes, the new moon's going to be on your south node. So you're on the precipice of breaking through considerably the fundamental way you functionally live your life. You're releasing a perspective and approach you take come September in relationships with other people that you're going to see, and you're going to be like, I don't know why the fuck I do this. And this is going to now release and fundamentally shift the way you live your life and the individual actions you take to form your lifestyle. So 6 months from September, you're going to actualize this. Leo is more stubborn than Taurus. Scorpio is more stubborn than Leo. Aquarius is more stubborn than Scorpio. Taurus is more stubborn than Aquarius, and that's the fixed stubborn circle. I like to think.
I'm over it. I'm over the fucking fixed squares. I'm over it. I'm done.
Ooh, that's a fact.
I'm done.
That's crazy.
I'm done.
And echoist expression, I'm not a Pisces rising. I'm a progressed Pisces moon, but I am a Taurus rising, getting ready to progress into Gemini.
How are you doing with Saturn square your ascendant and your descendant?
It's a prince.
Do you feel like you're like on the chopping block?
I like that. It's a precipice moment where I feel like I'm about to break through in my career and like understanding how I command it. But I didn't realize that that's a chopping block. You just kind of put words to it. Like, that's kind of interesting.
It's not easy. Leo risings and Taurus risings are definitely going through some of these transits in a much more public way. Mm-hmm. I feel like Scorpio risings and
I think for Leo rising, it's more open. For Taurus rising, it's behind our back, so we're not really aware of what people are saying about it.
As that North Node swings into your 12th.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's always fun. Mm-hmm. Hopefully that's helpful for you. We've also got Paula. Let's see, do I have you, Paula?
Favorite Aries. Lozano. There she go.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Another Scorpio rising, Paula.
Pure Queens.
Paula says nothing.
96. There's nothing to be said.
What's up, Paula? You have particular questions?
I want to kind of repeat as a...
I'm looking at the Mars!
Wait, we got to change it because she has 96 and this is...
That's a different Paula.
That's a different Paula. Yeah, my bad.
Okay, so let me create a chart for you.
Well, Paula, born 96, I just want to preface this by saying, Paula, you are a leader of the new school. You have Pluto in Sag. You have Saturn in Aries. Okay? The older generation, the Pluto Scorpio, we pass the torch on to you in a dying old world. And you are here to light this bitch up and literally burn any impurities as you all create the new world. Now, the reason why this is important is similar to K Flock. You have your sun on Saturn in Aries. You are a gangster. You're a motherfucking gangster, and you will cut a bitch. That's not a joke. So what's amazing about that too is you, with this incredible power, are preparing to return this. You are the power hub of the Saturn soul group of these leaders of the school. Because Pluto in Sagittarius starts with Saturn in Aries and ends with Saturn Virgo.
Oh, she's still Scorpio rising.
She's still Scorpio rising. Oh my God, that's freaking crazy. The Oz, another pure queen. So you're using your whole personality as a resource to manifest value for other people. I understand this as a Taurus rising because I'm partnered with the Scorpio sun and I've worked with Scorpio rising. So the other way around is your destiny is guiding you to the right valuable people to work with. But as an Aries, you know, and your moon is in Aquarius, so...
I should say there's two Paulas here. So we're doing Paula L. Paula Ponderosa, we've got you. Is that, unless that's you?
Mm-mm.
No, it's not. Okay, so we've got two Paulas. So we're doing the April 12th, 1996.
Wait, maybe it didn't. I don't know.
Yeah, no. We've got Paula Lozano
and
Ponderosa.
Then...
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
so there's two.
So yeah, like you do have the Reaper on your soul. You're a vessel of this strengthening of knowledge, right? This cosmic home. And once again, like 23 degrees of the sun puts you far away from Saturn, but close enough to really tap into its power.
It's her, yeah.
Oh, it is her.
Yeah, it is her.
That's beautiful. Okay. I felt that. All right. So no, I thought it was, but personally, you know, we have to keep in mind that all of this is preparing you for Jupiter that's going to go through 2023. It's retrograding at 8 degrees, but all of this is getting ready to completely push forward as a Mars and Aries. The fundamental shift, like we mentioned before with the last Scorpio rising, of how you're going to revolutionize and innovate the actions. Like this type of transit is going to make it so that you can decide, I want to make a living this way, and you can create it. It's not like you have to be like, I want to live this life, but I have to work a job in order to do this. No, you're going to decide, I want to do this. You're going to create the individual actions to do it. Okay, and this year is sneak peeking and transitioning. This is what it looks like. Next year, you step into it. So it's a little different for you because you were born in 96.
How's that Saturn on your moon treating you?
Oh, that's facts. Yeah.
You know, Saturn going retrograde on your moon. Whole sign, it's your 4th, but really it's in your 3rd. So there's something the way that you're reworking the way that you look at communication, talking to family, talking to siblings, moving. There's something going on there that's getting worked out. Because it does sextile your sun, right? So it's like while Saturn is dancing on your moon and your IC, P.S. Saturn on the IC, quite challenging. You feel low, and there's a sense of reflecting on where you want to go, but it's trying to get you to focus on more in like home and like inner values. It's sextiling your sun, ruler of the 10th. So it'll bring you back home. You'll feel a little stuck and a little sluggish, but you're reflecting on what your role and responsibility is going to be long term. Do you want to work for yourself? Do you want to be a parent? Do you want to start a new hobby? Do you want to have some like new side hustle? So Saturn on your moon is actually really trying to get you to think about the overall bigger picture. Cool.
And also, she said hermit star, right? So like your legacy is to be a star. Like you got the MC in Leo. You have to be seen. You have to be an inspiration. You have to perform. But your moon is on the IC. This is you feeling the opposite. Like you want to be behind the scenes. You want to be at home. So you're bridging both. This Leo season is going to show you now that Jupiter has evolved your ability to form a lifestyle around the vision of your career, what it looks like. And you're going to be building the brick and foundation from this August to February to literally create that. You're going to be overcoming the doubt over, and this is where I'm saying for you, it's different. Like the Scorpio rising we spoke to before was not new generation. So for you, you're incorporating and integrating controversial dynamics, the ability to manifest what you want just because you thought of it. So the way you come into this is going to be counterculture and completely non-conventional to the way you're taught things are supposed to happen. And your ability to kind of be the hermit and be like, no, I'm gonna do it my way, but also be the star and inspire people to show over the next 6 months will have you create miracles. Like by November, you've now transformed your personality to this self-concept of the fact that you exist outside of normal infrastructure. So there could be changes of the economy and it's not gonna affect what you're doing. That's a lot to come into at a young age. And that's how you being born 96 takes us to the next level.
I also think Mars going retrograde over your Venus is pretty prominent.
Oh, shit.
So you had an eclipse that was along your descendant last year. It was like mid-November 2021. Mars is going to reactivate that. So whether you're looking for a business partnership or a romantic partner, clients, whatever, it's gonna get re-triggered when Mars goes there in mid-August. But your Venus is the degree that Mars will station on. So Mars will go retrograde at the end of, I think, October. Mars will spend like 5 months in the sign of Gemini, which is really important for Scorpio rising because Mars is your chart lord. So basically, long story short, Mars enters shadow around early September. And I have a feeling as Mars enters that degree at an 8, which is about sex, regeneration, transformation, exchange, there's an opportunity for new clients. There's an opportunity for more money. There's an opportunity to meet somebody who can help you kind of progress on where you're going in terms of your career.
Yeah.
It's really strong in early September, and then it will retrograde back to that degree, I believe, like sometime around the new year. It's going to be a ways.
It's also freaking amazing too, because as you are right now, you're on the precipice of realizing that something you've been taught your whole life you can't do, you can actually do. You don't know how to do it yet. And then Scorpio season, you're going to transform and break through and realize, oh, I can do it. And then Aquarius season, you're going to understand actually the knowledge of how to do it. And then Taurus season, you're going to manifest that at the end.
Something about the new year is super important because you've got Mars going retrograde over your Venus, ruler of your 7th house of relationships. You are Mars. You're coming back into wanting to connect with others, being open to dating again, being open to love, but also clients. And then you've also got Jupiter conjunct your Saturn. So it tells me that, like, come the new year, you're kicking something off and you're like, okay, I'm ready. And you're going to fall in love with something, right? It could be a person.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Jupiter is the ruler of your fifth, about true love. And you're starting to see that Jupiter is then coming into conjunction with your Mars. And then we've got some sextiles going on between Jupiter and Mars in early February. You're in love with what you're doing. Maybe you've met somebody, you have new clients. Something is really blossoming in a very big way for you that's giving you the opportunity, I think, to have more independence in your daily routine. And also it could be like somebody that you end up kind of like working with. So just keep that in the back of your mind, that because your chart lord is Mars, as it goes retrograde, it's bringing people back to help you like rework your idea of like what you're passionate about. So that's like a really important period, you know, from that end of October through February. Hopefully that's helpful. We've got Swim Good, who made a donation. So let's pull this up.
91.
This is Sim. 126.91.
So as an Aquarius born 91, you're also a gangster. You got Saturn on your sun, and you've returned your power, unlike Paula, who's yet to return her power until 2025. So you're literally awakening to the fact that you're a motherfucking gangster, and you're awakening to it, though. You're wearing the clothes. You're like, how do I feel like? I now know myself to be a motherfucking G. Like, I've always known I was a G, but like now I'm stepping into being a freaking G. And there's an autonomy and a liberation of the knowledge of the keys that you literally are aware of, and it represent as a generational hub to enforce this. We know that your rising is in Virgo, so this is applied into the advanced techniques and lifestyles that you live. What does that look like? Once Saturn enters Pisces and starts to apply this towards relationships, you've mastered your lifestyle. You can decide that I want to work this much hours based off of creative talents I've established. That's gangster. That's power. That's everything that you have the authority to establish, and of course work through the limitations and challenges to establish. So all power to you. Well, we see your Saturn's in Capricorn, but still close enough to Aquarius still enables you to apply this. And you know, as Candace will kind of mention, Pluto is awake. Oh my fucking God.
Yeah, Pluto on
insane.
Saturn, Neptune conjunct the descendant. I mean, you're asking questions about also moving. I mean, movement is going to be associated with either Mars or Pluto, and you've got the South Node that's on Pluto right now. So you're ready to move. I think it's going to go a lot more smoothly, possibly after the Mercury retrograde in Virgo. And as it's in a trine to Pluto in your fourth, so I think you're working out movement in October. Oops.
Can I speak on because I see business as a wellness coach. You need to understand that. What was the question around that?
About working as an entrepreneur and also best time to relocate.
Okay, so here's the thing. I have chills because your business as a wellness coach is Saturn in the 6th house in Aquarius. This is what you're meant to do. Like in the 6th house, you're a trainer of the collective. You have the knowledge and awareness and authority. The Saturn return is a badge. You can tell people, hey, I know what you need to change in your lifestyle as a wellness coach. So you need to focus all your attention towards that, and reality will respond, right? The relocation you'll make sense of coming into Virgo season. Once you kind of change your self-definition, because the Neptune, Jupiter, Sun, Moon in your 7th has literally changed the fabric of how you believe you connect to people in relationships, which will now change in Virgo season, how you present yourself. That'll let you know with details you manifest how to relocate coming into Sagittarius. So it's too soon to know, but you need to know that you already know your business as far as wellness coaching is not only the move, it's going to bring you the greatest success. And, you know, congratulations in advance, because that's really the 6th house lesson that Saturn is finishing out, so that you master this authority to do this.
Yeah, I would also say just watch for those eclipses that are coming, because you were asking about moving. You've got eclipses that are coming in the fall here. So it's going to be around November 8th. And when you have that full moon, eclipse in opposition to planets conjuncture Pluto, I feel like you're planning a move in October, possibly executing a move in November. It's going to take about that long. But at least then it's going to like trine Jupiter and Neptune, sextile your ascendant, you know, it's going to trine your south node. Maybe you're moving somewhere where you have a friend. Maybe you're moving somewhere where you have a roommate or you have a partner, perhaps. That's definitely very possible. But I would hold off and wait, because to me it seems like it's more important to get the business stuff rolling before you actually move, you know, if that helps. Because you have that square to Saturn. So Saturn is 6th house to your ascendant. So you're figuring out work, your schedule, your routine, making sure you get into a place that you really like, you know. Hopefully that's helpful. We're going to call last call on readings. So if you want to get in the queue, let us know. You can scan the QR code right down here. You can get in the queue so you can get a reading. We need your date, time, location, city, state of birth. Please spell out the month and give us the AM and the PM hour too. That's really helpful. We've got Jacqueline Lopez. J-Lo. So let's see. I think we might have J-Lo's chart. Do we have you? Maybe not. Jacqueline, do you have the time? April 23rd.
9 a.m.
Thank you. $1975, and that was in Queens, right? Queens, yeah. Queens, New York, and that was in AM. 9 a.m. Cool. Thank you. J-Lo, what is your question? Let us know. Oh, that is not your rising sign. Hold up. Placidus. There we go. You use Placidus, right? Not a whole sign?
I use equal.
Okay.
Yeah, equal and whole. But I know Placidus for transits though, for sure.
Let us know what your question is. We'll take a look.
We'll definitely say right off the bat, as an Aries rising, congratulations, chapter 1. You're right. You're stepping into a whole new cycle.
Just the fact that it's a 3 degree too. So you've got that Jupiter retrograde that's going to start out. It's your Jupiter return. First of all, whoa. It's your Jupiter return. Wow. It's stationing on your natal Jupiter.
Jesus.
So I would say between now and the new moon, which is going to be tomorrow, right? Mm-hmm. Super pay attention, because Jupiter is very strong as it's stationing, and it's going to give you lots of insight when it comes to like what you should be studying, where you should be traveling, like what your bigger goals are, like your beliefs when it comes to God and like anything like that, because Jupiter's the lord of your ninth. So you may get some really kind of insightful information today or tomorrow. And I'm super curious when Jupiter retrogrades and goes back to your ascendant, where you're able to kind of communicate and express some of this stuff more. And that'll be around September. But yeah, I mean, what can we say? I mean, the Mars North Node Uranus conjunction's happening in your second. There's this shift in gears that's happening where you're reevaluating what it means to have worth and make money and resources, and where your time or your energy is better spent, where you're developing new talents that you're working on personally, and it might interfere with other people's goals. You might have to let some people down or cut some people loose.
She said, yeah, April 23, 75, 9 a.m.
Yeah.
Because she said Gemini rising, but it's Aries rising.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I also get this feeling that it's about, for you, because you're also coming into your Chiron return pretty soon.
Congratulations.
That this is about kind of just like owning it, like walking the walk and talking the talk, and like not being afraid to kind of be the odd man out, and being willing to kind of put yourself first, you know?
And, you know, this is also all about ridiculous amounts of money and cash, because this is your second house